I'm with the main man. I'm with Dan Lawrence, my good old friend, my former strength and conditioning coach. Me and him took on a stadium once upon a time. We won't talk about that though. Dan, thanks for joining us, mate. Thanks for coming on the pod. Obviously, you're back in with Conor Benn, Team Ben. How's he doing?
He's doing well. We're, as you say, at Tottenham Stadium. And do you know what, George? Coming here and looking at it, it is pretty special. For me personally, it's hit home again as how big this actually is, especially after the last press conference in Manchester. We'll see what happens today.
Yeah.
And just excited. Excited for camp now. Excited to get this over and done with. Get back to Mallorca and just dial in towards the goal.
Back to Mallorca. I want to ask you about Mallorca, but before then, we've got to talk about the egg. You know, the egg. No one saw it come in. I think egg is such a punnable. It's such a punnable thing, and also it's such a childish thing. It was excellent, wasn't it? It was brilliant. How's Conor done since? Have you even discussed it? Can you discuss it with him? Is he level-headed and calm enough to discuss it?
He is. You know what? He's taking it really well. Like the whole press conference, obviously Conor spoke very well. It was interesting the way Eubank spoke as well, and obviously how his stance was with Eddie. But look, for me personally, that's uncalled for. I don't like stuff like that. But as you know, I'm always kind of in the background, like, what is that all about? But look,
did you get any egg? Did it hit
no,
you?
I
Didn't catch it?
No, I was again hiding away in the corner. But look, it's made it an even bigger fight now, right? If it wasn't big enough already. So I think I saw today the guys were saying 200,000 people have gone on pre-sale to try and get a ticket.
Yeah.
So has that helped? Probably. You know, was it big anyway?
No,
yes.
Of course,
but
yeah. It's an incredible bit of PR because it's entertainment, isn't it?
Exactly.
We're fully engaged now. People who are not even boxing fans, not even sports fans, they've seen it, they've heard it, they want to get involved. Yeah.
And to your question, Conor's fine. Like he's taking it really well. You think he'd be just, and he was like that for a while, but listen, the goal is here on April the 26th. You can't let that get to you. It can rile you absolutely in the short term, but we know what we're trying to do here.
Yeah, what's his temperament like in a day-to-day situation? Because he comes across so intense, but I know as a fighter that they want that from you. That when you get interviewed, the questions that are asked, and essentially what you think people want to hear is you want to be pumped for a fight, and Conor does it almost better than anyone else. But what's he like when he's away from that? Can he climb down from that tension? Or
no, he's got no chill. So he's intense. And funny enough, when I got back in with him, he said, "Dan, just to pre-warn you, I'm even more intense than before." But there's being intense, and as you know, George, you've got to be super dialed in towards your goal. You've got to not listen to the naysayers, not listen to the noise. And if you're not intense and single-minded, what are you really doing? Are you really going to be great? So I think you've got to be like that. It does take a certain person to understand you and be like, oh, blimey, okay. And just, he's a top guy. He's a top guy outside of all of that. So I'm not saying that's just for the camera. He is very much like that. He cares about marginal gains. He wants to know the why, which is great for me because, as you know, I'll chew your ear off and tell you why. But no, he's a top lad.
Yeah. So, what is your role in this setup now, Dan? Because you're like one of the most accomplished strength conditioning coaches there is out there, but we know now in boxing there's so many other strings to a bow, so many other marginal gains, which to say you can get. What's your role now? You still just strength conditioning?
Yeah, I think me and Conor spoke about this, and getting back in with him there is more to it than the sets and reps on a program. Anyone can write a good program, but I like to think what I bring is all things high performance. I embody it myself, as you know, and just about did a half marathon the other day in Dubai, and I try and lead from the front, even as age is now not on my side. But no, joking aside, look, I do focus on the mindset. I do focus on the psychology. I do focus on the strength and conditioning, of course, being the main one, but also working as part of a team with one sole goal, and that is the athlete. So I'll do anything. If I need to carry bags, if I need to give water, I don't really care, because as long as it deburdens the athlete in any way, shape or form. So I'll liaise with Tony Sims, the head coach. We've got Pedro Neymar involved as well. This is number 2. And I've just brought Glenn in, have sourced in-house as the chef, so I'll build the nutrition plan, work with the chef on a daily basis, and just make sure everything is taken care of. So that's really the focus now.
Does this feel like a big fight for Conor Benn? Obviously, we know it is, but he seems like the sort of character who is built for these occasions, and to headline a stadium, to be in a massive grudge match when I don't even think these guys have sparred each other. Do you know what I mean? They've only... There's some born enemies or born rivals, whatever the tagline is. It's something that stems back from their parents. But Conor revels in this. He comes across like a true high-end celebrity, should we say. He leans into that lifestyle. Do you think he's built for headline a stadium? or is there any nerves in the build up to this? Like,
I think that there'll always be nerves, and you don't know until you've done it. And Conor hasn't done it in this moment. He's walked out at Leeds, but it certainly wasn't this against Granados, whoever it was. I do believe he's built for this. I also believe he's born for this, with what Nigel achieved. And Nigel is just an incredible individual. So, a story on Nigel. Nigel did the 24-hour flight from Oz, landed the other day on Saturday at 6:15 in the morning. Someone picked him up from the airport. I think he got back to the house at 7:30. I had a session with Conor at 9 a.m. Didn't sleep on the plane. Nigel came into the gym and he's just such a high performance individual. And I think, look, going back to built, born, that's embodied into Conor. And we don't know until he's done it, but I truly believe Conor is made for this moment, and he's got to take his chance in this moment. And listen, we know it's a big ask. He's stepping up from 147, but we've got a really good team. We've done all of our testing, all of our physiological profiling, and his VO2 max, George, is like a triathlete. So that's the size of the engine, his cardiovascular system. His power is better than it's ever been. His strength markers are better than they've ever been. So, from physical qualities, they really are there. Now it's a matter of, as you know, fuel for the work required, ensuring he's actually fueling enough, because the expenditure is going to be high, certainly as sparring volumes increase, we goes from 10, 12 rounds and so on, then we just got to be really mindful he's getting enough calories on board to ensure that he maintains weight and makes the 160 limit safely and effectively,
Yeah, what's going to be the toughest thing for Conor Benn?
In the fight or in the build-up?
The build-up then the fight.
I think handling the moment, which again he's mentally prepared for. Con is so dialed in, like every marginal gain, every detail, every aspect of high performance he's thinking about, from what he reads, conversations he had, what does he listen to, who he leans on, like his father and others around him. So I think that's important. The preparation is super important in handling the moment first and foremost. And then when you're in the ring, look, again, it's a tall order. You've been in the ring with his opponent. But look, he's walking around now. He's 168, 169 now. So again, it's not like if you said to me we got a 12-week camp and he's got to make 147, I'd say, okay, we're in for a bit of a challenge to get him back down to 147. So I've seen him in sparring. He's explosive, he's ferocious, he has no fear. His boxing, as you know, technically has improved. That area better than me over the last 5 years, incredibly, under the work of Tony Sims. So I'm excited for it.
I'm excited for it. I think everyone's certainly excited for it. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for me as a neutral to pick a winner, to be honest. And you know what I mean? When the fight was first made all them years ago, I thought it's a bit of a mismatch because of the size. And then as it's got closer, when the fight looked like it was coming back, I was like, Conor Benn, how can you write him off now because of the way that he just his aura? But then when you actually it arrives and you're like, oh yeah, it's this. It's a stadium, so it's going to be just as much mental as physical.
Agreed.
So I look forward to it. Dan, thanks for your time, mate. And you, so you're staying out in Dubai for a few months. Back off to Mallorca to finish camp.
Mallorca, which I'm excited for. Let's get all this stuff done, all the media stuff, which I know is a necessary box to tick, but just excited to dial in. What
sort of boxes? It's not an egg box, is it? You haven't got any eggs on you today.
How have you waited till the end of that? I thought that was coming in earlier.
With oven gloves, frying pan? Is he going to hit with a frying pan today?
No, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
There's got to be something. Is that what it's been the last 2 days? Is it like, fuck, we got to top the egg?
What is the comeback?
We got to top the egg, or we got to anticipate what's next. If it's an egg, is it? I don't know. Flour.
Yeah.
What
I think, look, if anything happens from our end, we plan into his hands. We play into his tune. Listen, Con's again dialed in. We've got our own focus, and let's see what happens today. Can't guarantee nothing will happen, but anyway.
Yeah. What's been your favourite egg-based pun since the last 2 days?
Oh God.
What's the nickname that Conor's going to have now for the rest of his days between you guys in your friendship group that he's never going to escape?
I don't know on the egg
He's
side.
getting his phone out.
There was someone, I think Conor shared it with Nigel. So there's a guy on socials. I'll try and send it to you after. Honestly, he summed it up so well. You said earlier about Conor having no chill. He's like, Conor's default is just that.
Yeah.
That's his default mechanism. And I think he said some funny stuff on there about the eggs. But no, I don't know. Listen, I'll rise above that. Right? I'm just here to do high performance. I couldn't care about all this. This is pretty cool, actually, looking out. But I just want to get back to Mallorca, dial in, and get in best prepared for April the 26th. It's going to be an excellent fight. There you go. Have that.
You've been excellent, Dan. Thank you very much, mate. Yes, perfect.